Hey, good evening, guys. This is Mark here of JTech. How are you? I hope it finds you well. Tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to be discussing differentials. The particular differential I'm going to talk to you guys about is out of a 2000 Ford F350, and I've got it right here on the bench. I'll show it to you here in a moment. And we're just going to give you some basics on what the axle or what the differential is, the overall rear end. And we'll talk about that and some of the service intervals. This particular rear end takes a 75 140 synthetic lubricant. They recommend on this anytime that you would submerge a differential or anytime that you've opened it up and feel that the fluids need to be changed, you should. There's really no other real guidance on that other than how comfortable you are with the maintenance on your differential. That's pretty much the deal with it. Okay, I'm going to tip you down here and back up a little bit, and we'll start explaining a little bit of stuff here. Okay, as you can see, this is the differential I'm working on. Again, like I said, it's a Ford F350. It is an open wheel carrier. In other words, it only has one drive wheel. I can tip it toward you so you can see a little bit. This is the carrier itself, and this would be your ring gear. Your pinion's in deeper. This is your whole. This is what they actually call the differential. This chunk that we have in here. This is the actual differential, and this is what powers your vehicle down the road. I'm going to flip this over and kind of give you a power flow on it. This would be the way that this is going to set in the vehicle. And what you see here on the front is your yoke. The yoke takes the input, or takes the output from the transmission, and this would be the input to the differential. You have your drive shaft, and possibly, if you have two drive shafts, you have a carrier bearing, and it will go on up to the differential. With this particular, on up to the transmission. With this particular differential, it probably did have a carrier bearing, because this would have come out of like a 1 ton, that type of configuration. Okay, so again, you have your yoke, and this would be a typical yoke that your U-joint sets, or your U-joint sets in. It's not a companion type flange, because the U-joint itself would nestle right in here. A companion flange, it would have a round disc, if you will, on the front, and the drive shaft was made up to it, and it would bolt in. Okay, speed sensor. So it runs off the reluctor or off the teeth on the ring gear. This happens to be the teeth that you're looking at. I know it's probably a little difficult to see because I'm quite a ways away, and that's the best I can get for resolution for my audio video. But this has 360 teeth on it, and this is going to be counting the pulses that sends up your actual differential, whether it's slipping, the speed of the rear end, that type of stuff, and that will all go up to your climate control module, your power control module, your transmission control module. All those would see that input through the CAN bus. Okay, what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you the basic drive of this. When we went through the yoke will turn. And as you can see, as I turn the yoke, you're going to watch it turn the ring gear. Alright? This not being a positive or limited slip differential, you can actually take each wheel and spin it different directions, and they will turn by themselves. But the design of this differential is to drive one wheel at a time. That's its whole purpose in life. If you have to get one wheel, say on ice or on grass, and the other one's on harder pavement, well, the one that's on the softer base is actually going to spin, and you're not going to get much drive out of it. So that's why a majority of the manufacturers, if they do have a quasi traction type differential or a limited slip differential, then it'll be like a Detroit locker or something to that effect. Okay, as we come through the yoke, I'm going to turn this, and you may or may not be able to see the ring gear as it spins, but the power comes in through a pinion that sets in the bottom that engages our ring gear. Then our ring gear actually turns. This is solid on a on the differential, and what it does is it has side gears in the housing, and those side gears actually are what drive the axles. This particular rear end is considered a full floating rear end, because with this, the axles, all the axles do are provide the power to turn the wheels. They do not hold any of the weight of the vehicle. The weight of the vehicle is setting on the purchase, on the rear end, here and here respectively. And with the weight of the setting on it, then all you have are your spindles on the end. I'll take an axle out for you and show you what I'm talking about. My handy dandy tool. These have already been loosened, so that's why they're coming out fairly quick. And once you get these out, I've had this axle apart the other day, so hopefully it'll slide out without too much problem. There it's coming. Usually you end up taking a hammer or something and wrap it on the end, and that axle will, the shock will pull that axle loose so you can pull it out. Now what I'm doing is this is your axle shaft. And with this, you have your splines. Your splines are what actually engage the spider gear inside the differential here. And your spider gear, your spider gear that disengages just happens to be this gear right here. And this is what drives that axle. The splines engage with the spider gear. All right, and if we come back over here to the hub, you can see that this hub is still here. It's still going to hold the weight of the axle, or the vehicles it would be. This would kind of be similar to the hub that you'd have on the front of your vehicle if you didn't have a four-wheel drive, and a typical car would have you. You got bearings on there, inside and outside bearings that you can pack. These particular bearings would not be packed because they're going to use fluid from the differential to lubricate them, but it's got a seal. All that stuff is the same. So in layman's terms, it's all pretty much identical. So as I was saying, your power flow will run through your pinion. Like I said, I know it's hard to see, but you got a pinion gear down here that drives your ring gear. The ring gear then in turn drives the rest of the differential, and the differential is actually what, if you will, separates the power from axle to axle. That's its sole purpose in life. And if you didn't have these 4 gears in here as your differential, you would have a very difficult time making corners or what have you, because one wheel has to turn faster than the other when you make a turn. The outside wheel is always going to, the outside wheel or the outside of your turn is always going to roll faster than the inside. And this differential assembly in here is what allows it to do that. One will actually spin while the other one is, for the most part, stationary. They're not quite stationary, but certainly running at a considerably slower speed on the inside than it is the outside when you make a turn. So again, that's pretty much all I have for you guys tonight. These differentials can be taken out. We have 2 caps, one on each side, that you have to be mindful when you take them off, because they have to stay on the same side that they came off of, because this housing is actually put together in a line home, so this is a perfectly straight parallel shot through the differential. If you didn't, then you'd have to, if you got them mixed up, you'd have to have those, once again, a line hone so that you could get this to run proper and smooth. It can be done. They make aftermarket caps and stuff all the time for these differentials that you can actually put on and have a good driveline maker go in and fix it. So again, that's all I have. I hope it was somewhat informative for you, and have a great evening. We'll talk to you again. Thanks. All right. What's that?